The char function, also called the char function short for character, converts any number from 1 to 255 to their corresponding character. The code function returns a numeric code for each character. I am Nabil Murad. These two functions are used as support functions when building more advanced functions with multiple nested levels, but they have other uses that we will explore in this tutorial. So let's dive in. In this worksheet, I have numbers from 1 to 255 in the cells with a dark blue fill color, and I have their corresponding characters in the cells with light blue fill color. In column S, I have some of these numbers. The char function or the character function will convert the number to their corresponding character. So in cell T2, I type equal char, I hit tab, I select cell S2, I close the bracket and I hit enter. The character corresponding to 36 is the dollar symbol. I can double click and send it down. Note that the characters corresponding to numbers from 65 to 90 are the alphabetic letters from A to Z in uppercase, and the characters corresponding to the numbers from 97 to 122 are the alphabetic letters from A to Z in lowercase. The code function will convert the character into the number, then it does the opposite of the char function. So in cell U2, I type equal code, and then I hit tab. I click on the result of the char function. In cell T2, I close the bracket and hit enter, and it's returning the original number. I can double click and send it down. Now that you understand the concept of the char and code, I'm going to use them in some projects. In this example, I want to get a list of uppercase characters. So I'll be combining the char function with the row function. So I type equal char, and then I hit tab. I want to start at 65. Then I type 64 plus the row function of cell A1. The row function of cell A1 is 1 plus 64. That will return uppercase A. I can double click and send it down, and I get a full list of the alphabet in uppercase from A to Z. I can use the char function with a RANDBETWEEN function to generate random codes. In column B, I have a category. In column C, I have a product, and I want to generate a random code, but the first part of this code should be the first character of the category followed by the first character of the product, then a dash, and then a random combination of 3 characters. In cell A3, I use a CONCAT function, equal CONCAT. I want the left character of the category, then I use a left function. I select the category, comma 1. I close the bracket for the left function, then I type a comma. I want the first character of the product with another left function, and then I type a comma. I want a dash. I include it in double quotation, and then a comma. Now I want the random characters. The random characters in lowercase are the numbers from 97 to 122. Then I use the char function, and I use a RANDBETWEEN. The bottom will be 97, and the top will be 122. I close the bracket for the RANDBETWEEN and the char function. This part will return a random character, but I want 3 random characters. Then I'm going to copy it and paste it 2 more times, Control C, and then I type comma, Control V, comma, Control V. I close the bracket for the CONCAT function. When I hit enter, I would have returned the code for the product. I can double click and send it down, and here I have a random code. I can also use the code function to generate a random code for any name. I have a name in cell A2, and I have a separator in cell B2. I want to split the name into multiple characters, and I'll be using a mid with a sequence function to do that. I type equal mid of cell A2, comma. For the start number, I use a sequence function. For the sequence function, I want 1 row And for the number of columns, I want the length of cell A2. Then I use a length function and I click on cell A2. I close the bracket for the length. I close the bracket for the sequence. I'm back to the mid function. I type a comma for the number of characters. I just need one, and I close the bracket. When I hit enter, then I get each character in a separate column. I put my function in the edit mode F2, and I want the code corresponding to each one of these characters. Then I type code, and I open bracket. I close the bracket at the end. When I hit enter, I get the characters. I want to join all these characters together in one single cell, cell D2, with a separator coming from cell B2. I hit F2, that's the perfect job of the TEXTJOIN function. I type TEXTJOIN, I hit the tab key, my delimiter will be cell B2, I type a comma, I skip the second argument with another comma, I click at the end to close the bracket. When I hit enter, I would have generated the code. What if I change the name? I have a drop list in cell A2. I click on the down arrow. What if I select my name Nabil? Here is the code corresponding to Nabil. If I change the separator and I use a different separator, let it be a dash. Here is the code returned by the code function. A common use of the char function is in a situation where I have a list like this one that shows a name, an address, a city, and a state, and I want to generate labels for each record. These labels will have each piece of information on a separate line. I start by selecting cell F2 and I type equal TEXTJOIN and I hit tab. What's your delimiter? I want each piece of information, name, address, city, and state on a separate line, as if I'm typing, and at the end of each piece of information, I hit Alt-Enter to remain in the same cell and move to the next line. And this is what the char 10 will be doing. I type char, I open bracket, I type 10, I close the bracket, and then I type a comma, ignore empty, I type another comma, and I select the range from A2 to D2, I close the bracket, and then I hit enter, and I get my first label. You have to know that to get the proper appearance for each label, wrap text on the home tab should be enabled. I can click and drag all the way down. In this example, I have a list of names in column B, but I want them to appear as a bulleted list. Then I'm going to use the char 149. I type equal char, I hit the tab key, I type 149, I close the bracket, then I use the joining operator of Excel and I select the first name, I hit enter, and I get the first bullet. I can double click and send it down, and I get the complete bulleted list. The code function returns the code corresponding to a character. But what if you have a string of text? So if I use the code function in cell B2 equal code, and then I hit tab, I want the code of letter N in cell A2. I close the bracket and then I hit enter. The code is 78. In cell A3, I have my name, Nabil. So if I copy the code function, it will return the same exact number because the code function returns the code of the first character of a string of text. Let's have some fun with the char function. So in cell C2, I'm going to create a char function that looks at cell A2. Equal char, and then I hit tab. I want the character of cell A2, I close the bracket and then I hit enter and it's returning 1. You have to know that characters are linked to fonts. So if I change the font type, I get a different result. I'm going to copy to row number 3. Instead of this font, I'll be selecting Wingdings. And now I hit enter and look at that. You can use this folder or this worksheet in your projects. This is char 49 and char 50. What if I copy it down to return the character corresponding to 67? This is what you should be doing right now. When I copy down, I get a thumbs up. And if you found value in this tutorial, give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to my channel to be notified when new tutorials are released. The best is yet to come. Thanks for watching and see you next time.